Our Truth in Politics panel is here now to discuss the ongoing trial. Jennifer Leywitz is with War Shield Consulting. She's in Prince Albert. And Winnipeg Free columnist, opinion columnist Niigaan Sinclair is with us in Winnipeg. Niigaan, Jennifer, thanks for being with us as always. Niigaan, let's start with you this week. This man has admitted to killing 4 of our Indigenous women, and yet that doesn't necessarily mean jail time. Can you tell us why?
So a plea this is an issue not about guilt any longer. This is an issue about whether the person who is alleged to have killed these 4 individuals, and no longer alleged, it's clear that he did the action, but that whether he was mentally capable of understanding A, what he did, and then B, what sort of responsibility that he understood. What responsibility does he take to which is the claim of non-criminally responsible. If found that he is incapable mentally of understanding his actions, then this would be in a protected facility of various different security clearances, that he would be in like a mental health center, in a lockup area kind of situation in which he may or may not become mentally well. The very similar situation for those who are understanding the justice system, this was a very similar situation claimed by Vince Lee, who was an individual on a bus a number of years ago here in Manitoba who harmed, decapitated, murdered an individual, and then claimed not to be criminally responsible. So the medical world then inherited that individual. That's very different than this case. We're seeing I see this as not being able to carry a lot of water, this claim.
Jennifer, what impact do you think killers like Jeremy Skibicki, Sean Lamb, Robert Pickton have on our communities?
I think just thinking about the preying that they're doing, like reading some of the news articles where he was literally showing up to where our most vulnerable are, which is in homeless shelters and on the street, to allegedly formulate plans on how to lure them back. And that's the biggest problem, is right now we're seeing those social issues, addictions, homelessness, poverty. And as more and more of our people end up in these homeless shelters or on the streets, there are going to be people out there that recognize that as an opportunity and unfortunately use that as a way to take their lives. And then knowing, the fact that there has been a long-standing history of Indigenous people not being treated fairly, not only by the justice system, but their lives being invalued by police services and emergency services when they go missing. Murdered and missing Indigenous women is a huge deal in Canada. And do you think these perpetuators don't see that and know that they might not be held as responsible or have as heavy of a hand put down on them in the justice system?
Niigaan, it sounds like security is becoming an issue inside and outside of the courthouse now, too. A man described as menacing and acting strangely got through security this morning, but sheriffs wouldn't let him into the courtroom. Yesterday, you may have seen the video, another man caught on Facebook video threatening family members of the victims. What do you make of this?
There's a lot of issues that this trial is bringing up. And there's also a lot of friction between people who have had this issue politicized by the previous provincial government, who said they were not going to search for women in landfills, and therefore people feel galvanized who generally might already have strong feelings towards Indigenous communities, and particularly women, and very negative ones. And so as a result, this has brought a lot of issues to the surface that comes going back to the provincial government. And people feel that this issue is kind of a linchpin for seeing that Indigenous peoples get everything all the time, or they're getting somehow claiming things that they don't deserve. Or the fact is that this is a court trial in which a very serious issue, long-standing issue, as Jennifer points out, is coming to a head here in Manitoba. We have thousands of Indigenous women and girls, Two-Spirit peoples, who have gone missing, who have been murdered by individuals such as this. This is not just a single solitary issue. The fact is that Jeremy Skibicki also said during his confession with Winnipeg police, which now being called into question whether he was mentally capable of giving that confession, but he said that he, when getting rid of some of the outcomes of his actions, the bodies, he was looking at the ways previous killers like Sean Lamb had done that work.
Jennifer, what can we as a society do ourselves to protect our women as opposed to relying on outside police forces?
Well, I think the biggest thing here is the preventative measures, ensuring that our women and girls are not ending up in vulnerable situations, you know, ending up in homeless shelters, ending up on the streets, whether that be for sex work or in other capacities, and ensuring that we're protecting them before it even gets to that point. Because right now, governments at all different levels, provincial and federally especially, are failing our people. So they're ending up in these positions. And then, you know, we do talk about the changes that need to be made in the preventative as well, and then also the response, so the police response and stuff like that. And you know, we talk about a lot about diversity and inclusion, but it doesn't seem to be getting better. And we did see in the last Manitoba election how there was a literal campaign happening to not search the landfill. And it's like the way that we just so casually downplay the lives of Indigenous people in this country. And it, you know, I see Indigenous people and I see Indigenous advocates singing to the rooftops all the time about this, but until society essentially wakes up and starts really starting to advocate alongside with us, then I don't know if it'll ever change.
Right. Important topic, Niga and Jennifer. Appreciate you both being here to speak about it.
You betcha.